have that shit in my head the rest of the night. Hello, and thank you for choosing episode 230 of SonarFeed. This episode's name is Magnusom Park. I'm your host, Dave Clark. You can follow me at Better Than. To my right, a man who will be using his phone all night and hardly talking is...
Hi.
My right, your left.
I can't even with you.
Say your name.
Mark.
Thank you. What's your handle?
Which one?
The public one, where people embarrass you and you embarrass yourself.
Which one?
At SonarFeed.
That's Mark. You can follow him at SSFC40 15. No. 13.
Just end it. End it.
That's our show. Thank you.
The show literally is over.
To Mark's right. He's the more natural host.
Tom Biro, a.k.a. Bougie Hooli.
And finally, our esteemed producer extraordinaire,
Adam at Weigel.
Thank you very much. This is episode 230, Magnusom Park. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing all right. Doing well. How are you, Dave?
We went from rumor to signing in about 18 seconds. I'm pretty certain today.
We did.
Maybe 12 hours, but for
Do you have the
official
breaking
confirmation.
news thing? No.
I don't have a breaking news thing.
So welcome to SonarFeed.
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 We will not be
230.
issuing reprints.
No new tickets to
No new tickets to SonarFeed.
Sorry, everyone. So there's not really breaking news. I don't know. It's recent, relatively recent news. Is that that's what we'd call it, right?
Relatively recent news.
Relatively recent news. Dave.
Jeff Baker of the Seattle Times, a newspaper that still exists, is reporting that the Seattle Sounders are going to be signing right mid/center mid Magnus Wolf Eikram, Norwegian player, most recently of Malmo. You've heard of Malmo because Eric Freeberg used to play there. He is not, they don't cross over paths there at all, but clearly Chris Henderson has scouted Malmo a few times. They don't share agents.
Does he like tacos?
I'm just going to say yes, Norwegian tacos.
We're going out with a yes.
Of course.
Okay.
Dude has, let me open it up. He has 18 assists in the past year and a half.
Oh.
So he's a creative force who has 12 goals in the last 2.5 years. And the reason why those numbers are 2.5 and 1.5 is because Soccerway doesn't track assists going back more than a year and a half in smaller leagues. He also was in the Manchester United Reserves, Cardiff City, and a team name that I can pronounce even less accurately than I can his last name. So,
Do you know who also had that many goals in half a season?
12 goals in half a season?
Yeah.
Me.
Chad Marshall.
Chad Marshall had that many goals in half a season.
I have to tell you, we have a thumbs down in the show rating, and it's making
Already?
me really happy.
We just
Because I
started.
can't decide who it came from. I have a guess, but I'm not sure, so
Me.
I'm going to also vote it down. Thumbs down.
Are we going to downvote ourselves
Downvote
off the
ourselves
internet?
now. YouTube is going to be like,
Oh.
you're done.
Was it
We
the
should
style
play-
of intro or the content?
Oh, there's a third one.
There goes our opportunity to monetize.
It's starting.
Hold on, let me log in.
This has significant impacts, actually. So please stop downvoting us, people.
Let's not do that. That sounds like a bad idea.
It will make
No,
us less shared.
definitely do not have a copyright violation while we're here on the show tonight.
Don't we get a free
So-
15 seconds?
No,
That's what she said.
you do not get a free 15 seconds.
This is not like radio bumpers at the station.
Also,
Mark.
the radio bumpers at the station, they pay for all those music rights,
Right.
so they can use them as long as
Yeah.
they want.
Yes, they do.
So
I have
So,
a story about that.
Magnus Wolf Eikram, that's basically all we know at this point.
Yep.
Come on. A player.
Times says that he is in Seattle right now, which makes sense because so is the rest of the team. They're here in between their Chula Vista and Tucson phases
Working on those miles?
of preseason. Yeah, they basically get 2 nights to be at home, see their wife or significant others.
That's fair.
sleep in their own bed, and then go back to like dorm life.
So this morning, we were trying to figure out if we were going to have a guest tonight.
Let's not go too deep into the weeds on that. But the guest that we were going to have is now busy.
But that was my point.
Yeah.
Instead of us having a guest, we have news.
Yeah.
Which, as much as
Where's
I
our
really
breaking
would
news
like a guest to be here, news is pretty awesome.
News is
I
good.
could get like the like MP3 and do that.
Yeah, that'll work. We should add that at
It'll
some
take
point.
me a couple of minutes to get it. So
If
I'll
you
be
were
right
a
back.
real producer, you would have already had it.
Shut up, Mark.
Welcome to my last 4 years of being producer.
Yeah, I can take Chris's better than you.
Yeah, so
The fuck you can.
somebody mentioned this is a classic Garth Lagerwey move in that there were no rumors. And there's no transfer fee.
And here it is.
And boom, we have another guy who... I mean, there's some disagreement. Norway's probably a little worse than MLS is now in league quality. But in his last full season, dude had I think it was 13 assists and led his team. That might be off by a number or two. I didn't keep track, and so I'm trying to remember. But a team that already has creators in Nicolas Ladero and Victor Rodriguez and kind of in Clint Dempsey just added another creator in that band of three, and that's pretty good depth. And we didn't
No complaints yet.
I was going to write up the depth chart tonight when I got done here because Susie's making the graphic, and I'm like,
that grid.
Yeah, I don't know what to... Yeah. So, he's a TAM player, so probably competes with Victor Rodriguez for starting time since you've got DPs in Dempsey and Ladero, and I would assume they're both going to be more frequent starters. But there is a maximum possible games, if all miracles go Seattle's way, of 56 competitive matches this year.
Is that a lot?
Yeah, they've done 51.
That's including playoffs and everything?
And the Club World Cup.
Right. All of
Yeah.
it.
Hey guys, I have breaking news. It's claimed.
Okay, you can hear it, though? And when people in here can't hear
It's still playing.
it? Okay.
And
So it's going to be some nice competition for time, and they'll be able to rest guys and rotate it.
So is this,
Mark wants to hear it really bad.
Is this
the breaking news?
Is this the type of player that for things like Open Cup you're going to see on the field
This is
as a starter?
well, I would assume if he
Or do you
doesn't
think this
start
is a
that
player-
week, like he's. To me, the resume looks like he's capable of starting in MLS. If you're going to spend TAM
Right.
money, you're not looking for a Open Cup starter. You're looking for
No, but I don't know if before today, let's say you'd have looked at the roster and that this would be somebody that was going to potentially push somebody out of a starting position right now.
I don't know that he's going to push somebody out of a starting position, but it's going to add more competition to the attacking band.
Understood.
And Victor Rodriguez probably is where that's going to be. I mean, his resume looks stronger than Andres Ivanschitz or Ivanschitz.
Okay.
Kind of like the guy produces.
we
he
like
puts
that
up
guy.
numbers. He's creative. He can. He has filled in a little bit as a central midfielder, so they can do some stuff where they can go like 4-1-4-1.
Can he take
once in a
corners?
while. Don't know. That'll be something to pay attention
That's kind of important.
because the best corner kick taker on the team is playing for LAFC,
LAFC
now.
right now, yeah.
So,
We'll probably be okay, but
I mean,
Mark just got to it.
Mark is
that's good breaking news music. I like that.
really good breaking news.
3 minutes later, we all hear the breaking news.
right? Not stinger. Bumper.
Exactly.
Anyway, we need a sting next.
Okay.
Let's get that.
Give me a minute.
We are upping the level of production during the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, I mean, so that kind of threw us off because it happened just before the show. It wasn't really that we were just sitting here discussing Mark's social life. Oh my God, you got a stinger.
You told me to.
Would you turn down the volume?
It's really weird to hear yourself like half a second after and not have it be like on purpose.
It's kind of like being Joe DiMaggio.
Anyway, literally our viewership just got cut in half to 2.
No, when
And go. No. So beyond that, so there's not necessarily a ton of Sounders news. I think the only other thing I've seen dancing around is the Brad Evans speculation.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like, last week, people were like, oh, Brad Evans is definitely happening. And nothing's been officially announced.
They came back home just to get him.
But his Twitter profile still says he's a Sounder. So there's that.
To be fair, so does Haley Koppemeyer's.
Her
Twitter
profile
handle.
says that she's a Sounder?
No, it says she's a Rain player.
Oh, that makes
but
sense.
Well, but
I was really confused.
that's
for a
something that
moment.
happened hours ago, whereas Brad Evans was
It's like a week.
released.
Yeah.
To be specific, December 10th.
If you're counting.
The day
So
after.
I guess that would be 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
So yeah, I think there's indication that Brad is very happily a Seattle man. That he loves this region. He enjoys this team, even when he's exercised significant frustration at various times. I think that part of the reason why he's frustrated is because he thinks he can help the team and they're making mistakes,
Right.
not because he wants
Right.
to go away. And they know him better than anybody. They know his health concern, and they know that the back issue that he had and how it impacted the way he perceived other injuries, which weren't actually injuries, but like shadow pain, essentially. They know that better than anybody but Brad. So I still think that it's likely they signed him. The two of you listening that don't read Sounder Heart regularly should go there, because I had an interesting story about why they need a forced center back of significant quality this year, because there is an 11-game stretch where they'll have Chad Marshall and whoever the fourth best center back is, and maybe the fifth best, because Chad Marshall can't start 11 games in 6 weeks, or 7 weeks. So
I mean, he could.
Yeah.
he could like 6 years ago.
Are you saying he's old?
Fair.
The dude doesn't start 3 games in 8 days. He always rests at least one of them.
That's fair.
Particularly if they're a road game. So
Same.
They're going to need at least a fourth center back, and then they need somebody, whether it's Tony Alfaro or Sam Rogers or Rodrigo L.A. or the Norwegian kid they drafted, not the Norwegian kid they just signed. One of those guys has to step up and at least be as good as other teams' third center backs, because there's going to be a 2-month stretch where they are the Sounders' third center back. And that's before there are any Open Cup games, and that is Open Cup Central. The Open Cup will basically be during the World Cup, so you can watch World Cup by day and Open Cup at night, and MLS at night.
That sounds fantastic, actually.
Soccer, 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 soccer.
Soccer.
You know what I'm looking forward to, by the way?
That was one of your words. I counted.
In 2 weeks, we can talk about the Olympics on this show.
Yes.
What's an Olympics?
It's in South Korea.
Ooh, breaking news.
It's going to get nuked.
This is not breaking news. He just wants to use the stinger.
Stinger.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, we can do like curling recaps and stuff. That'll be fun.
Anyway.
So yeah, I still think that it makes a lot of sense for.
What is even happening?
It makes a lot of sense for Brad Evans to be on this team next year, because they will need that kind of depth that he provides, and I would expect him to get like 20 starts.
Okay. That's a really good breakdown from Dave Clark.
It always is a
Clark
good
before?
breakdown from Dave Clark.
Breakdown. This
Dave
has been,
Clark
this has been
breakdown.
breakdown with
Like-
Dave Clark.
Take down,
Could you
Make a
breakdown.
stinger for Dave Clark's
Yeah, could you make a-
breakdown?
I could just play Dave Clark band.
You could do that.
Okay, but then we couldn't
infringement.
monetize
Don't
it.
do it.
Yeah.
So,
We should monetize this.
otherwise, as far as Sounders Land go, the only other quote news this week was,
Everybody's leaving.
well, there was this news that Francisco Narbonne was leaving. He has a European passport, if I recall correctly.
Jealous.
Yeah, the dude's
Exactly.
got like 3 passports.
Yeah. And there was word that he was going to Turkey.
No.
No, I can't keep track at this point.
2 Serie B teams.
Oh,
in
that's what I
Italy,
remember.
a Swiss
Yeah.
team, and Croatian giant Dynamo Zagreb.
That's where we were. And
I was hoping it would
apparently
be a
it's-
straight swap. Francisco Narbonne for Hilal Al-Sudani. That would have been great.
That would have been interesting. So
it's not going to happen.
That appears to not be the case, at least as of the moment.
He did go to Europe. We didn't confirm that. We were unable to confirm the teams, but he was definitely over there.
He was there.
/trialing.
But he doesn't appear to be departing.
No, he is currently in the greater Seattle area.
He comes over.
He's right there.
And now it's time for a guest.
He's watching the show from inside.
Did you know
he
we're
didn't
in
leave.
Renton?
Aaron Kovar did leave.
Did leave. And good for
on
him.
loan. They have the option to recall him during the summer transfer window.
Okay.
And then LA has the option of buying him at the end of the year.
To be honest, I want whatever's best for Kovar.
I mean, I don't know if resting Kovar face will fit into LA very well.
Make Kovar smile again.
Wow.
He'll have Will Ferrell around, so it might happen.
There you go.
Great.
I'm wondering, though, does he now when he plays FIFA, will he trade Chad Marshall to LAFC so
he can play with Chad Marshall.
We could tweet at him right now.
Does anybody
Mark is
have
on
Twitter?
Because his phone is already on.
That's Mark's role.
Yeah. Live tweet.
So let's see. Other Sounders trades, transfers, and rumors.
Didn't we have a training staff move since
Yes.
last week? I think that was the
Yeah,
only
they
one.
haven't announced it
I'd look it
formally
up,
yet. A guy that used to be with Stoke City when they were in the EPL, it looks like the guy that's going to replace Dave Tenney. It's still not official, even though Stoke wrote about it. Yeah. There are multiple people's contracts that need to be signed, and they're not all signed yet. So, yeah, they lost their head of sports science to the Orlando Magic in the NBA, which is clearly a step up. There's a lot of money in the NBA. His right-hand man left for the Colorado Rapids, where he will be the head of the Rapids sports science department. That's Chad K. I can't say it.
Just go with K.
Yeah, Chad K.
That'll do.
So there's a little shift there, and then they're bringing in new. We didn't lose Ravi, though, so I'm pretty excited because if Chad is the right-hand man doing all the traditional sports fitness type stuff,
Yeah.
Ravi is the left-hand man that did all the sciencey stuff.
Okay.
And they still have Ravi. Former SB Nation blogger, Ravi, actually.
Wow.
He ran the Villarreal site for a while.
Villarreal.
Villarreal? Also. Whatever. If I wanted to talk
By
in
way of
Spanish, I'd
Real.
move to Paul Cox.
We got. He was so mad when I said, "Did you know Paul Cox was in Spain the other day?" He's like, "Dave already pulls that shit.
Wait,
Why do you have to get in on that?"
is Paul Cox in Spain?
He is probably watching right now.
Go to bed.
So in
He's
the
waking up.
in the
Go
chat,
back to bed.
in the chat.
You're tired.
In the chat.
By the way, the other day I was with Greg Makos and a few other people on Saturday night, and we were talking about something going back and forth between an Italy and Spain discussion, and I said "Isequa."
No, you
Just
did not.
in the middle of a conversation,
on.
and then it stopped everything that was happening in the room, and it was like, it was.
Did you get shamed out? Or did
What
that-
was the show? What's the record scratch? You're probably wondering how.
Yeah.
It was that moment. Like literally, everyone just stopped and looked at me, and they were like, "Did you just say Isaqua?" And I was like, "Yes,
Yep.
I did." And then I just rolled with it and pretended that I did it on purpose.
You're the worst.
Anyway, so I was going to say nervosos. Said in the chat, any coincidence about the rumor that Nico is looking for a move back to Boca?
Okay, so this is interesting, and Jeremiah is probably writing it up right now, so I'll just, spoiler alert for the 10 people watching out here and the 20 watching online. So
Nice.
Nico was actually asked about this in Boca recently, and he went on the record and he said, when I first heard the rumor, I thought, yeah, if they asked me to come back, I would find a way. So breaking news, there was no rumor until the rumor got started, and then Nico confirmed that it was
best.
possible. So he was not interested in coming back when the original thing came out 2 weeks ago that he was interested in coming back. But now, because that came out, and the president of Boca was like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. He's like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool.
And it's so late.
it now it's also because he's talking to like a Boca magazine. He might be just feeding them what they want to hear because dude's on like he's got like 3 years left on his contract. Has said that he wants to be a youth coach here. Carries his son out in the procession. Son's at practices. Had another kid. Brad absolutely adores the region and had dreamed of being able to move to the United States. Like, for all of our frustrations, which are fairly well known because we can't avoid politics on this show because that's just what we do. But for all of our frustrations, people who have recently moved here love the shit out of our country still. And Nico is one of those. He likes it here. So I don't think he's moving, and I don't think Seattle's going to move him without getting paid. So, and it's not like Boca's going to want 32-year-old Nico Ladero.
Fair. Okay.
Especially when he's coming off of going to a World Cup where Uruguay could make a run and be in the semifinals. Because they still have one of the top 5 players in the world up top.
So still got some time, obviously, before the season
ends.
Gets going. Also that.
Is this show over yet?
I'm out.
Night, y'all.
Now that there appears to be at least one move happening, Dave?
Yeah.
Do you think we see more? Do we think we just have to stop looking at this like literally every other team in the league and just expect that they know what they're doing?
Well, I think it's really interesting because we only pay attention to what the other teams added, but we never pay attention to what they lost, really. Like, if you look at what TFC did, yes, they added a dude recently. He's like the poor man's Kelvin Leerdam. Dutch right back, played in worse leagues. You know, that guy. Great. They added him, but they lost Steven Beitashour, so probably a neutral move. And no, he doesn't have the long throw in. They also lost their bench attacking players that came in during the past 2 MLS Cups, Armando Cooper and Raheem Edwards. Both of them are gone. So when you look at it, TFC was praised so much for their depth. You know, they had lost Eric Zavaleta, but now they re-signed him, so he's back. But they're praised so much for their depth, and they've lost some of their depth. Now they're adding new players, but I think we as Sounders fans focus so often only on the positives for the other teams and the negatives for our own. Seattle still, I don't know that they have moves they want to make, though, because when Chris Henderson and Garth Lagerwey were at the hour-long practice session in the Seattle area before they went to Chula Vista, they pointed out they wanted to add somebody to the attacking band, which it looks like they're doing tonight or tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And they want to add a center back. And I think we covered what the most likely of that is. So they might be comfortable moving forward. I mean, right now, the team starting 2018 is much better than the team that started 2017. So you're not going to have you're almost certainly not going to have that, what was it, 2, 3, and 5 that started the season last year.
I would certainly hope not.
You know, if they got off to a decent start, they're the number 2 team in the league. You know, they were only 4 points behind New York City FC. So, yeah, they got dominated in MLS Cup, and that's the lasting image. But if you look at the season on a whole, and if you particularly look at the last 21 games, they were pretty freaking good. And I know I said that last week, and I'm saying it this week. I'm going to say it next week because, frankly, they're a pretty good team. They are, you know, even Matt Doyle, who is sometimes down on Seattle. Well, I think Seattle fans say that he's down on Seattle because, well, they got me and Jeremiah and that kind of stuff, and we're always high on Seattle. So even if he has a rational view of Seattle, he still says they're the 4th best team in the league.
Yeah.
It's about where I'd say. They're in kind of, they probably didn't catch up to Toronto, but they're on par with Atlanta and New York City right now. And maybe Orlando. I really like what Orlando's done.
Well, they're still making moves.
Still making moves.
Yeah.
They just got the dude we talked about a fair amount in the last 2-3 weeks, Justin Miram.
Yeah, so they added Justin Miram for a shit ton of TAM.
As Derek Pell said earlier today, that Austin is going to be really, really good.
Dude, it is totally following like the Sonics before they moved to Oklahoma
It
City.
absolutely is.
Hey,
I
let's
saw
get rid
someone
of everybody
tweet
we
that
know.
today, and I was like, they're actually doing it. And there was that
And
one...
the best part is nobody in Austin wants him.
Well,
You can change it back.
There
And it
was
looks
that-
like Brewdogs USA is willing to put down good money.
yeah.
They're a decent-sized brewery.
There was that moment, though, over the weekend where they were like, it looks like the team is talking to other investors in Columbus. And it was like that moment when all the journalists were like, man, Trump looked super presidential during that speech that he read off
No,
the teleprompter.
There was word that he rejected a infusion of local money about 8 months ago already.
Yeah.
So this is something that has happened before and will happen again. There are a couple local groups being involved. And there is a dude there with the stadium plan right in like Columbus's urban core. There's like a 1 mile stretch where like the State House and then a mile away is the NHL arena. And that's kind of like the core of Columbus. And
Yeah.
I guess there is a property that can fit one of those 20 to 25,000 seat MLS stadiums can fit in that space, and the property owner is the one putting forward the plan. So if they get local investors, not only could they save the crew, they could have like a modern stadium exactly where you want it.
Right.
And it'll be great because Precor can go to South by Southwest and have everybody laugh at him constantly.
Do you think that kind of no matter what happens here, and I know that Columbus has sort of lost that fortress aura and whatnot from a U.S. soccer standpoint, do you think no matter what that ship has sailed?
No, they'll get at least one more U.S.-Mexico game.
Just because?
Kind of to test the superstition, basically.
Yeah.
Was that a one-off or was it like the end?
Yeah.
And so they're going to give it one more go.
Okay.
I would anticipate. So yeah, Orlando, as we were saying, they added Justin Miram. They did sell Kyle Larin, but Columbus is going to get most of the money from that.
Which is fascinating.
Because, yeah, it's like 1.35 is what they're getting from Besiktas. That Turkish team.
Is it Beskitas?
Mickey literally from all the way downtown.
Mickey had it better. So yeah, like 1.35 million or something like that, and the league said Orlando just keep it all, don't sue anybody, and then $1 million of that is essentially going to Columbus. They're also the front runners. They have I've read that they have a trade in the works with
You're talking about
FC
Orlando
Dallas.
still.
Yeah, they're going to trade the number 6 in allocation order for the number 1 in the allocation order to get Uri Rosell, who you might remember was, whenever you watched the Sporting Kansas City game, they'd be like, he came up through the Barcelona Academy. That guy is coming back to the league and is a really good defensive midfielder. So you'd have a front four of their 19-year-old South American that they signed, Josue Coleman, Sasha Clayson, Justin Miram, and Dom Dwyer, with Uri Rosell being the anchor. And I don't know who the other... There's one more player that would be in there, but like frankly, it's a pretty good set of talent.
There was a really good Twitter joke made earlier today by Mark's favorite person on Twitter. Another Mark Kastner, who said after
That's
Paul
Mark.
Tenorio had tweeted about that, he said Orlando has to be favorites to win MLS Cup in 2015, which is a really, really, really
When Dom Dwyer had like 20
well
goals.
done
done.
tweet.
And Uri Rosell played defensive mid on the same team as Dom Dwyer.
I love me Mark Kastner.
It was pretty good.
He's
Mark
Sasha
did, by the way,
Kleisen
follow it up
like
in the
third
last
in MVP
30
voting.
minutes with Magnus Ikram sounds like something Harry Potter would say.
Yes, that was a good one too.
I have a reply to that.
It's
a
pretty
great
good.
reply.
I'm a fan.
I didn't get a reply to mine, and I don't expect one because it was.
I don't expect you to get a reply from basically anything from anyone
Ouch!
on the internet.
Ouch!
So, all right.
Except
so
Alaska
Columbus
Airlines.
is. Let's just call. Let's just say that
No,
Columbus.
they didn't even say thank you for flying.
Columbus is rebuilding. Let's just say that. That's a positive way of talking about what's happening in Columbus.
Rebuilding in
Who else
Austin.
did they get rid of? Oh, Ola Kamara.
Yeah.
Kamara.
To help out Siggy
Yeah.
and Kurt down in L.A.
So if you got traded from the Galaxy,
What would your last meal be?
this is a good question because if you had the meal in L.A., I'm sorry, Carson, versus had the meal in Columbus, the meal would differ dramatically. And there's actually some
Would
pretty
it from
decent
Carson
food.
to Columbus?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's some food trucks in that neighborhood that blow away.
Yeah, like
most-
that $2 like egg thing that just sits under the heat lamp in the food truck for like 98 minutes.
You got to get that, man. So you've been to Columbus, is what you're saying.
I had that in Carson.
Anyway,
Or was that City of Industry?
they're I have
Commerce?
so many answers. to
Commerce,
this.
California.
City of Commerce,
Let's just
California?
move on.
No, it's just Commerce, California.
Commerce City is outside of Denver.
Yeah, yeah.
Commerce is California.
Yep.
Got it.
You got it.
Okay.
Nailed it.
So,
Did you
Couple-
read the interview with Giassi Zardes?
who's
basically
basically so thrilled to be going
like-
to Columbus.
It
Do you
looked
think
like
he
he
even
had double
plays?
middle fingers to
Do you think
Siggy.
he's even going to play
in Columbus? Yeah.
Can we talk about his play last night?
No.
Actually, we are going to talk about last night.
Good.
Let's do it right now.
Wait. He's like,
there's a friend.
all I know is in Columbus, I'm not going to play right back, which Siggy had him play 3 times
Zing!
for the LA Galaxy because Zardes was a god-awful winger last year, so they had to get him on the field somehow. So we're going to talk about the U.S. or the Sounders yesterday.
Let's talk about the U.S. because
Let's
Mark
talk
has a
about-
report.
The U.S., baby.
It was awful. It was so painful to watch. Thank God that my phone wasn't working at the time, so I couldn't even tweet about how awful the game was.
The Lord bless us all.
Yep.
Seriously.
For real.
Did you just make the eclipse?
No, he did the sign of the cross.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Which thing?
You'd catch on
I'm an
fire.
ordained minister.
We heard on the internet.
That's not the same
Anyway,
as the
And
so,
the pilot.
So
You have your pilot license.
You have specific.
I do have my pilot license.
An ordained minister who has his own pilot
Let's
license.
just. We're gonna move on.
We distracted ourselves from our distractions.
Move on.
Jesse Sardis is still awful at soccer.
What's your take on Jordan Morris?
He was hungry last night. He did not finish well.
Off mic, somebody said, well, Jordan Morris this, Jordan Morris that.
Accurate.
I was happy to see Christian Roldan get subbed out
For non-injury reasons.
for non-injury reasons. That's a bonus.
Jordan looked good.
Jordan looked good. Jordan looks
Nimble, good movement,
nimble, yeah.
fast,
Not bad for
ran
a
channels well.
chunky kid from Mercer Island.
He has diabetes!
And I guess there's no more Jordan Morris coming on the show. Moving on.
Stocky. I meant
we talked a little
stocky.
bit on the way here about Jordan.
Stocky was the
specifically,
word I was looking
Yes.
for.
And you had some specific
Yes.
thoughts.
Well, yeah, he's
Turn my mic.
He is actually ripped, as we saw
is.
when the shirt got ripped. We got to see that.
That was the one part of the game I
that
didn't
torso
see.
is.
I went to go get a beer and I came back and everybody's talking about Jordan
They
boob
basically
and I'm like,
gave
what?
a window to his belly.
To the wall?
Yeah. He's there were
He's really fast, right?
There was a legit six-pack there.
I'm doing that meme.
He's really fast. He needs to. The thing is he's really good at getting in front of everybody. Like that's easy for him to do. Why the hell can't he put it in the net? Why? Seriously.
Most of the reason was because he wasn't given the ball in great spaces last night.
I didn't watch the
He
whole
tried
thing,
that
but
weird
I saw two
like
chances
back heel
in
thing
the first
that would have
half.
been
That
like
should've-
incredible.
He tried shit.
Yeah.
that's good.
He had that weird like because he was cutting away from goal, so the only way to put it towards goal was to back heel it. But all it did was create like the. It came off at a 90-degree angle, and so it just went straight rather than it needed a little cut if it was going to be on goal. It's a good play.
Matt in the chat pointed out he had 2-3 chances that he should have finished last night, including
Yeah, most
one with
people
the
who
left.
say that a forward should finish chances don't understand. Like even in high-scoring games, that's like 3 goals total, and you're going to get like 18 shots from both teams, and everybody's going to say they should have finished those chances. Chances. It's a lot harder to score a goal than we give credit for quite often. Like your best goal conversion players score like 30% of their shots.
That's how many? I don't even know how you would track this stat, but how many times has it been like him in front of everybody and he still misses? That's the question that I have.
Yeah, but even those shots that people say are easy, like that's basically what expected goals does is look at how often professionals put those goals
Right.
in. And there is no like I've seen stuff where an empty net 6 yards out, empty net 6 yards out, ball at your feet, and that's still something that's only a goal like 90% of the time. Because
Right.
scoring is hard.
I know.
Actually, you don't right now.
Just keep going. Here on SonarFeed.
SonarFeed. Here in Renton.
At the
Rentum.
the Bermin.
Anyway,
You can't. Yeah,
So-
that one doesn't work.
all right. So
Berlimmer.
so your take
At the
so your
Berliner
take,
pub.
and I would say
corner of Third and
as
Main.
as John is saying, like
Would
again,
you like a Iamminger?
you know what? First game, different lineup. Ultimately, the USA is taking a different approach, given the fact that they're not going to the World Cup this year. They're going to put different players on the roster. Hell, the lineup's going to look different. Like it's
That was
just
a lot of young
different
kids,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So it felt different all around, and I think this is Alexi made a comment, and love him or hate him, his take was like, yeah, you know, it's this random one game. There's a lot going on, and you guys are taking this tack with this. Let it go.
People were really, really serious about a January friendly with a coach that won't have a job in a month or 6 months or whatever. Like, he's not the answer. He's just a guy who happened to be the top assistant when the head coach got fired, and they don't want to hire an actual dude, so he gets to coach it. Just distracted everybody from everything.
Adam here has
And you'll
dropped a
notice that
doozy in our
those
Slack.
people who do like player ratings had Jordan Morris as the number 1 or number 2 player on the night.
Right.
So in Seattle, Jordan Morris just wasn't good enough. In the rest of the U.S., Jordan Morris was basically the only guy who belonged in a U.S. uniform.
That was a pretty serious statement.
Well, Tyler Adams did look good too. Polster was garbage. Zimmerman made me excited for him being the defender for LAFC because we can score on that a lot. So, who else? Yeah.
So all in all, though, I didn't necessarily feel like it was far afoul from what would have happened. I didn't watch. I read the recaps this morning. I paid attention to USA Soccer Twitter, which is a shit show. And
Did you write any articles for the Nutmeg News?
You know what? I'm outing your ass right now. You just wrote in our Slack. You just wrote in our Slack that you definitely are scoring at home. You have 4 kids.
It's true.
So
No, he said he
Adam-
knows how to score.
Oh no, I know. You could maybe just let me paraphrase for a second for the purposes of this entertaining.
Whatever,
Vehicle.
Rutgers.
Entertaining.
Thanks.
Quotes.
You know what? You're not going back to SonarFeed next week.
How are you going to get home?
Uber X.
Tom.
So, all in all, I think it.
Tumnus. Tumnus.
Guys, do you know what doesn't change? My name.
Tumnus?
Want to add an
So I
Tumnus
think
Tumnison?
it's, I think it's what we expected it to be. If you want to be honest about
He of the bureau
that
pot,
game.
Juice tonight.
In any other situation,
Lord of the Apple Bureau.
the friendly, the friendly, the friendly at the
King of
end
the
of
Bureau
Camp
Pot.
Cupcake would not have been something anyone gave a shit about. But because there's no light at the end of the 2018 tunnel right now for Team USA, for hardcore Team USA, fans, they're going to make a big deal about every little friendly, about any little anybody.
The past 8 years, Camp Cupcake friendlies don't matter.
This year.
This year. Oh my God, we were awful.
But that's really what should be the takeaway. Coach is like, well, I guess we'll play all the people that we think might be good. And if that's what they do for the next 6 months, I'm not a huge USA supporter I don't really care necessarily one way or the other. I'm happy to support the team and go to the games.
Want him to win, but it's like
You want them to win,
eh.
but I don't make a big deal about it.
Yeah.
If that's what they do for 6 months and we find
Right.
out about every kid in the country that can play, let's do it. Like, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe 6 months is too long of a term, but to me that seems like a better idea than what we've been doing for the last couple of years.
Fair enough. It's a building year.
We lost Dave. So
Do you
we
want
should
me
just
do you want me to change this to guys on phone?
It's on foam.
Guys on phones.
Guys on phones.
I'm not on my phone.
You wow. You have a foam on top of your other phone.
It's on the SonarFeed account.
right now that you changed it. Mark, you could just put one foam on your personal account and one foam on the SonarFeed one. SonarFeed. Sorry.
SonarFeed.
My bad.
Okay, Tom.
So also there was this pseudo impromptu Sounders match versus what was it? A
U20 Tech
Club Tijuana
U20.
Cholos.
Yeah.
U20s.
Wow. They were.
Hell
which
yes.
is basically
3-digit shirt
Mexico
numbers?
has
Seriously?
a ton of those.
They always do that for their youth
Yeah,
teams.
I guess that makes sense.
It's a really good idea.
So, like, the first team has the standard numbers, and then the U23s usually have the 100s, and then the U20s have the... like, it typically goes that way.
Right.
Which means even though they called it the U20s, it might have actually been, like, a
U12.
bunch of teenagers. Like, yeah.
Jerry is right. Scrimmage.
How,
No, Jerry,
how'd that
you're
go?
wrong because you told me what a scrimmage was meant that there weren't real referees, and there were real referees at that game. So it was a preseason game, not a scrimmage.
Wow.
Were they just watching though?
No, one of them waved on when you watch the Handwala. I did it right this time.
Good
Juana. When you watch his steal and assist, you see one of the referees waving him on. The AR, indicating that he didn't.
So there was video of it?
They used the drone that they bring out to practices
Nice.
to
By the
record
way,
the highlights.
That's awesome.
I don't know who said it today. Sorry if you're in the room, but whoever said, I want to watch all games on drone from
Aaron
now
Campbell.
on. Wow. I
Yeah,
agree.
they-
Just get a bunch of drones and fly them around.
Yeah, so they used
Because
they
that
used their
shit was
practice drone
super
to film
cool.
it, and the
I know you
field,
could
they-
do it
This,
if you'd stop
you have your pilot's
crashing
license.
your drone.
Also, I could do it if I just don't cut my hand off.
You know what? So
And
it's
they
a
had all the
propeller.
zones
It's a
marked out
propeller.
with
Yeah,
little hash
it'll
markings,
cut
so
you.
could
I know,
like,
see?
Yeah.
I got
movement
stitches.
was kind of easier to understand how they were using space. So that was cool.
It was cool.
The highlights on the Sounder at Heart, we embedded it there.
Oh, okay.
If you missed it.
Yeah, I'll
What
have to go
is that?
look at that.
Sounder at
Sounder.
Sounder at Heart.
Sounder.
Sounder.
.con.
So The other big news that we should definitely talk about is there are some dramatic,
wait.
world-moving.
Wait
What do you
for
got?
it. Hit it.
It's not really breaking news. But I'll take the. Got it.
It's playing.
It's playing.
Okay. No stinger though.
It was just the stinger.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Got it. Yeah. So the Rain have made a couple of changes today, including some favorites.
No, it rained a lot today. It didn't change much. It rained a lot.
I think actual things may have been thrown at Mark.
So, and they're going to add more talent tomorrow.
The Rain.
Yeah, because
So the Rain shipped Haley Kottmeyer, Carson Pickett, and Christine Nairn to Orlando. Orlando is just rolling in everyone else's players in every
doesn't matter what
soccer
sport,
thing right
league
now.
thing.
They're just bringing them all in. And the Rain brought back players that I don't have any background or information on.
Say their names.
Steph Catley,
Okay, she is
Australian.
starting left back, Australian national team.
That's right.
Somebody referred to her as one of the best left backs in the world. She is fast, gets
I
forward.
mean, that sounds
loves
like
it.
a smart decision to
So
make.
kind of what you do in that kind of 3-for-2 or what is essence a 3-for-1 and a throw-in kind of deal. You're looking to get stronger at the top end, and that's what they did. Because remember, Kottmeyer ended the season as the backup.
Yeah.
Because they at the end of last year they brought in Lydia Williams
Right.
from Houston. I
Could
think it
be.
was. And so Kopp lost her starting role already. So what they did was they traded a backup keeper, Nairn, who didn't have a long history here, Pickett, who looked to be on the up, but they got somebody who is championship caliber at left back. It's a pretty good deal, and they have the number 3 pick in the Boston Breakers dispersal draft because the NWSL killed the Breakers over the weekend, and their players go all over the place. 3rd pick in that's significant talent. And any player picked from Boston won't count against caps, other money type things, or the roster limit. So, yeah, there's going to be that, and there might be more moves. Like the Rain are going to... They've re-signed a few people, but you're going to see...
Oh, sorry, my drugs are here.
Outside
I had
of,
like 9 other comments. All of them were related to drugs, so good job.
outside of like the Fishlock, Naho, Rumi, Dahlstrom is still there, right? Dave is still there. Lou Barnes was just re-signed, right? Yeah. Fish, Pino.
So-
and like they've got like a core of like 6 or 7 players. It's going to be the most dramatic shift in the Rain since the year they. Well,
We need to
since
get
that year they
Fishlock
were
back on here
god-awful.
before the season
We
starts.
do. And Jacob Cristobal had posted something about the whole deal, but Jasmine Spencer, the other player, he says he expects that she's depth for the attacking core.
Yeah.
Specifically. So, it's going to look different. I didn't see any. The world is on fires. I think there's a little more of like
there's some world
I
on fire
miss Cop.
because- they added that Jodie Taylor, right? Who was embroiled in the racism scandal for the English women's national team, but she's really good at the soccer.
What an awful signing they had. Their manager.
Vlatko? Or the English national team.
English
English
national
national
team.
team.
Yes, it's
Are you
generally not good to
fucking kidding me?
put somebody who regularly demeans women in charge of the women's national team.
No.
That- Yeah, it's not a good move.
Right.
Yeah, not a good move. But the Rain, I mean, and then there was the Rain season is going to be really interesting because first time no Laura, dramatic roster shift with bringing in some really talented players, so it's going to be fun.
And this is their last season at Memorial, right? At
Right,
least
because
it's
Memorial
gonna be
is going to get
either something's happening
remodeled
to
or
it, right?
something
Yeah.
because
We
the city, the school district is going to put like a they're going to change, like there's going to be a multi-story school
Right
there, and then like essentially there'll still be a sports field there.
Okay.
But basically you're losing one sideline stand. That'll be
Right.
a school building now, and that's going to take forever to get done.
Of course.
So yeah, the rain of 2019. We still don't know where that's
Currently
gonna
homeless.
be.
do you
Currently,
think they take a keeper tomorrow in the re-entry draft?
I think they traded their backup keeper, so I think they already had a plan for keeper,
Okay.
and so they'll just take best player available.
Okay. That
Which
answers
won't
my
be Rose
question.
Lavelle because she will go first. She is amazing and injured.
So the last kind of past week thing to throw out there was changes in rules in the league, homegrown players. Now you're securing 100% of those transfer fees.
I mean,
So
are the rules
Sounders
even
have,
real anymore?
No one knows. Sounders have 5 of those. Well, Kovar is the 5th. Adekoya,
Wingo,
Morris.
Juana,
He forgot Morris.
Kovar.
Keep going.
Me.
Wingo.
I did Wingo already. I was on 5. Yeah.
So,
Plus their weird direct to USL. They've got a few of those too.
yeah.
4 right now.
At the moment, doesn't necessarily mean anything for Sounders. I mean, it may if something happens with Kovar. Not that it's going to be.
Well, that would have been within the league. That will be within the league if it happens, and so there won't be a transfer fee. That'll be a trade for allocation money if it
Okay.
happens. But if Jordan Morris performs really well at World Cup 2018 Russia, he'll
Phone
be
calls are
available on the
happening.
market, and they'll get all the money.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That he's not playing in the World Cup.
He didn't say anything about playing. He just said perform, like busking. Just
He's just
busking
gonna
on the
take-
sidewalk. Jordan Moore's busking. I want to see that video series.
Jordan Morris busking.
The best
That
is
would be
I turned
hilarious.
around. I turned around with like a at least PG-13 face, and you were like maybe G-rated.
Of course, Jordan Morris.
Sub
He's-
G.
he's-
You were like sub G.
Yeah,
Wow.
if there's a player on the roster that's going to be G-rated,
It'd be Jordan Morris.
yeah, or at least we're outside of yeah. I have no idea what he's like. In
Anyway.
practice. Yeah.
So
I'm not gonna
homegrown
assume.
players,
Yeah.
sell them, make more money is
Yep.
the deal.
Yeah.
Short and sweet.
And the reason we found out about that new deal is because Montreal sold a dude to Barcelona.
Barcelona, I heard that they had money.
Yeah.
Really?
That's the rumor.
And they have like a sell-on fee with him too. Like they get,
Is that new?
dude,
No.
his
It's not new.
like he's got one of those buyout because
Mark, someone stole your car.
everybody
That
in
splash
Spain
was nowhere near big enough.
everybody in Spain has a buyout clause, and his buyout clause
Like actually everyone in Spain. Paul Cox is like $12,000 to get Paul Cox to come back to the US. Dave went straight to the mug. I am definitely ordering another beer.
Yes.
I would like more of this, but not necessarily this much of
This
that.
is the time of the show where we order more drinks. If you want to get your own drink out there in
that side, yeah.
at home,
More of this.
now's
and
your
more of
chance.
Andix is great
Yeah,
beer. Thank you for drinking Andix here at the
that. Jordan
Winter
Morris
Pub.
this. Jordan Morris that.
So seriously,
3rd Main, downtown Renton, ahead of the curve.
You stole my line.
You weren't going to use it.
aside from Barcelona having money,
Yeah.
and oh look,
His
we found
buyout
out about a
clause
new
is like-
MLS rule.
His buyout clause is like $25 million over the next 2 years and $75 million after that or something like that.
Cool.
They think he's good. Montreal didn't.
That's
but
a
they do.
lot.
Yeah.
But it's very fun. Spain especially is pretty funny money because they're literally all just throwing transfer money at each other.
Or because they're not paying their players.
Well, you're also not paying their taxes, so it's cool. You just pretend.
I can sign a player or pay my taxes, sign 2 players.
The last thing I wanted to say on this, because I thought it was funny, was Stephen Fry responding to Sounder at Heart with, how about the player gets a cut from said transfer fee like in other places?
Well, Steph Fry was operating...
Drooling emoji. Actual drooling emoji.
Yeah, you did use
I think
it.
it's like sleeping drool.
I hate to do this to Steph, but he's wrong.
Hey, it was funny.
It's funny, but it's based off of the previous CBA, not the current. The current one, they actually do get the standard cut of transfer fees. They made that change when Brad Evans was the Seattle Sounders.
So what
union
you're
rep.
saying
See you later,
is
Mark.
that possibly the current...
Not possibly. It's like public knowledge. It's like clause 13.2.b or something like that that says players will get...
No one reads to 13, Dave.
Like, I really think... Like, in our story on that, one of my infrequent writers mentioned the actual clause. Let's see how close I was. You should talk while I look that up because I'm not talking right now.
I mean, I'm looking at the story.
I can just play some breaking
I don't
news.
see it.
Arbeck in the comments.
Music. I'll just play some breaking news
Oh,
music.
I don't have that much energy.
I said you should talk while I look it up.
I'm playing some breaking news music.
It's going well, isn't it?
You should talk while I look it up.
I can't do it. Thank you. And then the last...
Oh, I was wrong. It's section 15.3.
Dave, definitely no one gets to 15.
All right, here it is.
This is so
Except
much
as
easier
otherwise
for us to
provided in
talk.
this CBA or otherwise agreed at any time in writing between the player and MLS, the player shall be entitled to receive from MLS, promptly upon receipt of MLS by such consideration, 10%
I have a
of any
question for the
consideration
audience.
received by MLS for any loan or transfer of the player's services to a team or league outside of MLS. This section shall not apply to a loan to a USL affiliate if the loan fee is used as a solo mechanism to cover the player's salary.
I have a question for the audience really quick. Anybody in the audience read to 15
I did on my mortgage.
in something like that?
I didn't-
Anybody?
I did not on the HOA.
Definitely read to 15.
I know. I'm
Might be
looking.
why I
I'm
pay a
trying to
lot
look
of
at Mickey.
fines.
And then the related is Mickey wrote 15. Right.
Mickey, when you want to bury a clause, what number do you bury it under? About 16.
About buried at 16.
It's close. It's close. So you can find out more on MajorLeagueSoccer.com. Go there now.
Where they did the don't mind the usual rules because we just don't want Orlando to sue anyone. Did the 10% still go to the player?
No,
Right.
they did not do that, and I think that was because, frankly, well,
what was the question?
it's because Kyle Laren's a dick.
So the question was on the Kyle Laren deal that sent him to... How do you say it again? It's not... It's got an
Basilicus.
H that's invisible.
Basilicus.
Anyway, they are going to beat the shit out of you if they ever hear you say that. Anyway,
to be frank, if I'm in Turkey, I will have a sword with me.
good call. The question
They'll
was,
have a gun,
did that
and I'll die.
that happen with Kyle Laren? And the
No, it's-
short answer is no.
Got
It's
it.
not like the U.S. They don't just shoot you.
Well, I don't know about that. He's probably... He did not get any fee. Correct.
Considering he had torn up his own contract and tried to ignore his legally binding contract, when you do tear up your legally binding contract, it's really hard to hold somebody to other elements of the legally binding contract.
I actually thought that
I'm not a lawyer, but the lawyer is nodding his head that that's a reasonable understanding. Unclean hands, yeah.
if you're an MLS player and you tear up your contract, isn't it now more legally binding than it currently is because no one can read
This
the
is like the
stupidity
third
that is
time
sig-
that
single
something like this
entity.
has happened. Once in Turkey and once in Mexico.
That worked out really well for Camilo. He went to a team that then didn't
play
pay any
him.
of the players.
Yeah, he
And
made a
now
lot of
we've
money
never
and
heard of him
and
since.
he's trash. But eventually, whoa.
The beer has arrived.
Whoa,
The
wow.
beer has arrived.
So, all three times that it's happened,
The beer
a transfer fee has eventually been
has
paid.
arrived.
The player's
Thank
been
you.
hosed out of the transfer fee
Oh, yeah.
percentage, and the team has gotten like MLS, because if MLS doesn't want their options to be challenged in court, their understanding is team options are allowed because they were collectively bargained, and FIFA does say in their rules that options are permitted when they are collectively bargained. But just because FIFA has said that doesn't mean the Court of Arbitration in Sport is going to not screw something up. Anytime you go to court, there's a chance that it goes bad. So, basically, both Besiktas and Orlando and MLS, none of those parties wanted it to go to court. So they eventually found a number that they would agree on. Kyle Larin gets his higher salary in Turkey, where he won't play well, and in 2 years he'll probably wind up back in the league with Toronto. They got allocation money. Since they were paid, he goes on the allocation order list. Yeah, because they were paid a transfer fee, kind of like when Seattle lost Montero. He was on the allocation list.
So did we determine who Austin is going to buy with the Kyle Larin money yet? Or are we're not there yet?
They're going to buy Kyle Larin and Camilo.
Who will, neither of which will get a cut.
And
from
Castillo. Yeah, they're going to sign all three guys.
that. Wow.
Because
although that
they
would
are
actually be a really
carpetbaggers,
good
and
team.
so are the players.
If you had those
Would it,
three
though, 'cause
players,
Camilo is not a he's
not Camilo, but he,
Castillo.
What about 2013 Camilo?
He was good.
Yeah.
Kind of like 2015 Dwyer.
Damn. I'm not even going to repeat that on the air. It was so bad.
No, that was
It
really
was so
good.
inappropriate. She said dumb. Anyway.
He said
one-
damn, and she said no,
one-
Dom.
One last
Singular
thing
sensation.
before we talk about the move forward plan is that there's this guy who right now is talking about himself, and he uses his name to talk about himself all the time. And the word is that he's genuinely going to play in Carson, California. And he has his own movie that's on Netflix. And his name's Zlatan. And by the best,
Isn't there a
what do you
D in
mean
there?
by that? He's the best Zlatan.
Isn't yeah,
the
it's
best.
the Zlatan.
Totally. Because he's going to go to L.A. and be like, pay attention to me. And
Yeah,
they're going to be like,
Manchester
what?
United's like, you know what? If he wants to leave, we can do without him. So, sure.
So probably
There
going to
will be no
happen
transfer
now,
fee.
right?
So it will
It's
happen
probably coming.
sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
With no transfer fee. Supposedly the contract's going to be structured kind of like Gel Van Dam.
Yeah.
Was it? No, not Gel Van Dam.
No.
The defensive midfielder was trash.
Yeah.
That
Is
they
that
eventually
is this
got
who we're talking about?
rid of.
I know who you're talking about. That is who we're talking about.
That is exactly.
So it's
You're
going to be
so good,
structured so
Adam.
he is a TAM player
Yes.
in year
You're the
one
best producer, Adam.
and a DP in year two with some. It wasn't Van Dam. Who was the trash hole that they had at defensive midfielder that they eventually shit canned because he was so violent? Like he tried to kill Darlington Nagby on the field using his feet.
Everyone?
No, an LA Galaxy player. Like he was in. Wasn't the dude from the World Cup?
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway. So
Nigel de Jong.
yeah.
Yeah, that dude. So he was set on like a TAM with like a vesting
Good job, Jerry.
option at a designated player level, and he never made the vesting. They got rid of him because he was garbage. But in Ibrahimovic's case, it looks like he would be TAM year one and DP year two, and he's almost certainly going to hit his options.
So are we now at the point where LAFC's like, we're going to build an actual good team? And the Galaxy are like, we're going to do things that seem like a good idea.
I don't know. No, and this is kind of like when we were talking about Luis Suarez last week. Zlatan is a top 10 player in the world when healthy. So even though he's old, he's going to put up some
That's actually, you got to
Stunning.
correct that.
30
Zlatan is a
36,
top
right?
10 player in the world when Zlatan is healthy, Dave.
36?
36, yeah. And
Thus
like
spoken.
6 months, 6 months back from
Zlatan.
his knee injury. He'll be really fun to watch. They got Ola Kamara in. They got rid of Giassi Zardes, so the offense is immediately better. They have a couple defensive midfielders that they brought in, including Servando Carrasco. Honestly, the Galaxy are, right now could compete for one of those, the 5th or 6th spot in the West.
Do you think that if Zlatan is in LA, that just for fun,
You know, you could just call him Ibra.
Whatever.
just for fun,
Rom's cat.
that he will drive an Uber for fun during the week?
They need
Just to make ends meet.
to get and there needs to be video cameras in that. So he's just driving down Hollywood Boulevard,
I think it's a good idea.
picking up random rides.
But
being
he is absolutely a person that would do something like that in
Stops
Los
and
Angeles.
picks up Jordan while he's busking.
While he's performing during World Cup.
Also, it'll be cool that one of another one of Gustav Svensson's teammates, one of his national team teammates, is in MLS.
Okay.
They're both Swedish.
I was just waiting to see if you were going anywhere with that. Does that matter?
Probably not, because they didn't have Ibra for qualifying because of the knee. It might be interesting. Heck, we might get to keep Gustav because they call up Ibra instead.
I would be super okay with that. I mean, I would feel bad, honestly, because who doesn't want to get their players to play in a World Cup, injuries aside. But if that's what it takes to keep your players all year, probably okay with it. So, a couple things to talk about in the weeks ahead.
The weeks ahead.
The
weeks to toe.
When we
Breaking news.
when we were walking up tonight, this might actually be the only actual
wait,
breaking
Will
news
you
thing.
insert my GIF?
Let me.
Which one?
The one I always use.
I don't. Oh, the monkey thing.
Whatever the hell that thing is.
Oh, I would have gone with this one.
We would go like this.
Anyway, so right when we were walking up, you came in with some information pertaining to S2.
Yeah, if you
They're
live in
playing in
Seattle,
Tacoma.
there is a way to see S2 without driving to Tacoma.
YouTube.
What's the date?
March 10th at Championship Field, Seattle University, Seattle U, the Redhawks, are
Oh,
going
yeah.
to host S2 in a preseason friendly.
That's just over the hill from our apartments, Tom.
It is a great little
You'll live
all-grass
with them.
stadium.
Actually,
right
no, I
in
don't
the
think
heart of
yet.
Capital.
Yeah, it's
That's the date.
It's a
Grant.
great stadium.
Everything is in walking distance.
Yes.
700 seats. There'll be standing room only. They'll have the lights
For the
on.
low,
It's a
low
night game.
price.
Free.
Free.
Free is a great price.
Free. Faux free.
Seattle U
Colton goes to
has-
SU.
You don't have to find him. You can just enjoy the game.
If I hadn't been paying attention, that would have sounded like something else.
Okay.
Or you could find him if you want. And
I'm just saying he might be there.
the reason you want to go to the game, though, is not
see
because
Colton.
of Colton. No, you want to go because there are 5 academy talents at
Right.
Seattle University.
Yes.
They made a run to the NCAA tournament last year. Their team MVP was drafted 22nd overall in the league by the Seattle Sounders. He has a famous brother,
His name might be.
Alex Roldan.
Oh.
Yeah. And the year before that, the Defensive Player of the Year in the WCC was also drafted. And unfortunately, he is now a T2 rather than the Sounders, Kyle Bjornthun. But basically, Coach Pete Fewing is putting out talent that is capable of being a pro.
Yes.
He's doing it at that little Jesuit school, right? They're Jesuits?
Yes.
Yeah. I knew they were Catholic, but I couldn't remember.
They are Jesuits.
Jesuits or not. Doing it at a great school with a beautiful soccer field. And it's S2. And S2 brought back 10 players from last season. 4 of their direct from the academy signing, or 4 guys with academy histories.
Right.
Felix Chinkin, Rodrigo L.A., Francisco Narbon, Ray
Who's gonna do
Sari.
it too, I know it.
You'll probably see the draft picks there.
Pardon.
Adam just did.
And you might see some other trialists. You'll probably see a keeper or two. They haven't announced any of those. But there's some fun talents on S2, and there's some good talents on Seattle U. And it'll be a good time for those who miss S2 because they don't want to go from Capitol Hill to Cheney Stadium. Well, this is your opportunity to go from Capitol Hill to Capitol Hill.
There you go.
Speaking of another signing to our friends of the South.
Okay, speaking of that, more words.
What are you
follow that.
saying?
I
Who said
thought
who?
maybe you'd jump in on there.
Are you a robot? Like, did you just?
Speaking of,
What was the signing? What signing?
I was like Hall of Presidents,
Adam,
and I just
What is Mark talking about?
I want to know. The whole
Were you
world
just
is
like
waiting.
teeing up Dave, and Dave's like, I don't know what you're talking
Exactly.
the
So why don't you
reference.
fill us in?
I mean, they signed a lot of players, and that's
Who?
where I would focus.
Who?
Today they signed a good friend of the soccer community, Richard Farley. So congrats to him. It's unfortunate that we'll never speak to him again.
Wait. Who signed Richard Farley for what?
He works for
Timbers.
Portland Timbers.
To do what?
All
though?
of them.
He is basically their digital guy.
All soccer.
Congratulations,
He is
Richard.
no
You are
longer
dead to
unemployed.
us now.
That is the literal exact sentiment
No, Kayla is
of
doing
ECS
their-
leadership.
I love you, Richard.
Like that happened today. We were like, oh, that's super great.
I love him. I do.
He-
He's
I
a great
don't
guy.
think he's
Finally
finally got
got their
YachtCon
dick.
this year.
It's okay. He doesn't watch the show.
He's now only required, like when he comes up to play D&D with us, he's only going to be playing the evil NPCs that everybody kills. He'll still come.
Okay, so
I visited
I
your
do
customer this weekend.
have to say that's a really awesome
Many
move.
of them.
For
You go
him.
to Flash Stick all the time.
And
No.
honestly, for them too.
A specific one
club
that's
who
near and dear to your heart.
recognizes
We probably shouldn't talk about that on the air.
a good writer
Okay.
in their community, right?
What are we talking about now?
I was saying
Mark
that
was trying
I was
to
saying that it's really
throw
good
me under the bus.
for.
so,
I was
Was
actually being nice to Portland. I'm
to
sorry.
Mark?
No, I was being
No,
nice
no
to
one's
Portland.
nice to Mark.
Oh, nice support. Yeah, Merritt made a good decision.
No,
they
it
have
is.
they have a strong digital team.
He's a great writer. He
Yeah.
knows the
Well
game
done.
inside and out.
Yeah.
Bringing in somebody like him, it's going to be fantastic for them. I know that's an unpopular opinion.
So I opened up
No,
Twitter.
it's good.
And friend of the show, Nate Bowling.
Is he listening to the show?
No.
No,
He's definitely not listening to the show.
actually
So somewhat of a friend.
Actually, to be honest, and nice. Like, there's a decent chance he's recording Flanders B Team right now because they record on Mondays too. I would recommend subscribing to their podcast because it's a good show.
They are good people.
He says he's looking at the depth chart, which is an Excel document that I feel like I've seen before. Anyway, and he says, going into CCL, I suddenly have the urge for a strong beverage. And yes, he's aware of the new signing. And his follow-up point was he sees this as a moment when Toronto outplayed Seattle 2 MLS Cups in a row, and that the team is in an arms race with them, Portland, Atlanta, and maybe LAFC, and heading towards possibly a series against Chivas in CCL. And he says, till he sees him play in his head, he's the Scandinavian Flacco. About the new signing. So that was his.
You mean a guy who went to the World Cup? Flacco
Yeah.
went to the World Cup.
I mean, not Joe Flacco, elite quarterback, Baltimore Ravens.
He's actually never been to the World Cup.
Alvaro Fernandez literally
He's not
went
even
to
that
the World
elite.
Cup and was signed here off of the World Cup. Excellent possession player, improved defender. Once had 11 goals in a season. If that's what they signed, I'm okay with that.
With that Flacco.
I'm okay with the Flacco that was here last year. He had an extraordinary
We
performance.
could probably have this debate for like 5 hours, but
Please, no.
As a possession
We don't have that
player
much time.
who had improved defense,
They have 5 minutes.
there was nothing flawed about Alvaro Fernandez's performance last year. He was worth every penny they paid him.
How many pennies did they pay him?
300,000. Oh no, that
More than the four of us make
300,000
combined.
times 100.
Quick math.
Plus a lot.
So math feed.
And let's remember,
Stop.
everybody talks about like the CCL starts
If I had a coaster.
in a month, basically, or 3 weeks, or whatever. And
Chivas would dust the Sounders right
Wait,
now.
you know when they
Dust
play Chivas?
them in a month.
no, they play Santa Tecla, this garbage trash hole team out of El Salvador. They don't play Chivas until 6 weeks after that.
It feels like tomorrow. Let's just be clear.
They're gonna have a bunch
January
Of,
was about this long.
they're gonna have played like 7 games by the time they face.
Didn't we just leave Toronto?
This is true. We literally did just
I'm
leave
still
Toronto.
at the airport in Denver.
There
It
is.
is. It's 2 months from now. But like,
There's
it-
more time between when they would play the Chivas than
Then-
you were in Toronto.
That is absolutely true. I think the stress with this stuff is, and this is never going to change, is that everyone else in CCL is like, check us out. We're essentially 3/4 of the way through a season.
Oh yeah.
We're cruising. And like, as much as I feel confident playing against Santa Tecla, they're roughing people up earlier this year. They had a couple pretty good matches.
A team from El Salvador should never frighten you.
No,
in CCL,
and they
Like,
don't. But
Bad.
would you
Sounders
have
teams
gone into last season and
dominated.
said 2, 3, and 5 was where you thought they were going to start the season? Because I didn't.
Well,
I
but-
wouldn't have said that.
the way it happened was they had 2 injuries at center back and 2 injuries at right back, so you were starting your 5th, 6th, and 7th best defenders for like weeks on end. So yeah, I think that if the Sounders lose 4 of their top 6 defensive players at the exact same time this year, yeah, they'll look bad. But you know what? If I can kick Toronto in the same nuts and they lose 4 of their top 6 defenders at the
Sure.
same time, they're a trash team too.
But
and
let's
if
just be
Atlanta
clear.
loses 1 defender,
It was not
they're
just the
complete
defenders.
garbage.
It was not just the defenders, and it's not just Ben.
No, it
last
was just the
season.
defenders, like-
the first 10 weeks of the last few seasons have not been good.
No, in 2015 they dominated at the beginning.
That was amazing.
Then they did the same in 2014.
love
It's
that.
2 seasons you're thinking about. One which was almost entirely due to injury, and it was due to injury in the defense. Just look at the games against Chicago, Columbus, and Kansas City,
And-
to see exactly why the first third of last year was awful.
And this is kind of like, making fun of your luxury car, because in both of the last 2 seasons we're talking about, they made MLS Cup final.
Yeah.
So there's that. But this kind of comes back to that big discussion, which is the trying to convince people to purchase season tickets for a team that may or may not be strong for 3 months is really, really hard.
But
in
that has nothing to
today's
do
world.
with this team.
It
The current team is strong.
so right now, you said what you said earlier about the paper, about this team versus last year's team.
Yeah.
On paper, 2018 is stronger than 2017.
Right.
The team that started
at the start,
2017.
at the start of the season.
But so are a lot of the other quote unquote power teams in MLS. They are better.
Toronto's not. We just went over that. They lost most of their depth. The reason they were
we
able
played them early, right? May, something like that.
Atlanta, who had Emil Assad, replaced him with a teenager who may or may not be good. And Nagby, who we know doesn't score goals. Like, Nagby's going to be interesting. If there's a place where he can succeed, it's going to be under Tata.
I'm
but
not. I'm
you look at their
agreeing.
defense. Their defense is like, yeah, like I look forward to playing against their defense. Outside of Perez, I mean, dude, they have Michael Parkhurst, who is like a ghost of himself. He is a player that was a one-time Defensive Player of the Year, which is almost like what Chad Marshall is, except only a third of it. And he's also really old. So the idea that Michael Parkhurst is still going to be good for Atlanta in his second year, I don't believe it. And their outside backs are trash. So they're going to be a lot like what we had in 2014 with that pace of play that just keeps banging, and you're going to have a lot of 3-2 games.
Atlanta seems to me like the team that's trying to win 4-2 every week.
Yeah. And
again,
but if you look at Atlanta last year, what were they?
Torched in the playoffs.
2 points better than Seattle? Yeah.
And
2 points
torched in the
better.
playoffs.
So remember, that Seattle team that was garbage for the first third of the year, Atlanta was 2 points better at the end of the year. So, great. There's one team, and we're left with this, and because it's the last image we have of our team, the impression of how good Toronto is probably stronger than how good they actually are. Because
That's true.
that
I
was MLS
agree.
Cup.
And again, some of this is I just like talking shit with you about.
And I would also never recommend anybody buy tickets because they think the team's going to be good. Because you never know
no,
what's
but I
gonna
think there's a
happen.
reasonable expectation that a
What?
team that
The team is
frankly
gonna be good
talks a
'cause
big game.
They're going to make the
should
playoffs
be
because they
a
always
big
make the playoffs.
team.
They're going to win a trophy at least every other year because that's what they've done for 9 years. They're going to, at worst, finish 7th in the Supporters' Shield. At worst, 4th in the West. At worst, they're going to host a playoff game. They're awesome.
So I just want to wrap up this segment by saying that 2018 Adam was fatter than 2017 Adam.
Congratulations? Question mark.
I'm going to have more
So-
beer.
You
I'm
know
not
what will
disagreeing
help
with you.
with that?
I feel very confident about going into CCL.
I said wrap up this segment. Producer,
We don't have segments.
We're off the air.
Did you not read the show notes?
We have show notes.
So anyway, I feel
Tom
very
does.
confident going into that. I feel like there is a point in the league of awkward parody that you still have to play the games at the end of the day. And that while I don't expect Santa Tecla
Or in the middle of the day.
or at 11 a.m. if you're in Portland.
Yes.
But I don't expect them to be a major battlefield, but I might like to play a couple of decent games and feel like you're warmed up and feel like you're playing at the same caliber or same level as the competition within your league and beyond it by the time you play a team like Chivas and not Chivas USA.
How did they do?
Which will play new Chivas USA twice before June or something, right? So
Yeah, that's right. The good news, twice within the first 6 weeks.
it's great.
You want when you facing the
It's twice before the end of April, right? Yeah.
yeah, because we're
Yeah.
their home opener.
Yeah.
You-
They've never
Dude.
heard these jokes before. Bob Bradley's like, what do you mean? I definitely didn't coach a team here before. Anyway.
The comment off air was, we invented those jokes.
Wow. So,
Okay, now we're off air.
so February 15th, which is a Thursday,
Yes.
coming up
yes.
quickly.
Yes.
So 2 weeks from Thursday.
The only
of this
reason I
week.
know that it's a Thursday is because I assigned an assignment to my students, and it's due on the 14th. And we realized that was a Wednesday, and it was also Valentine's Day. And so now I know.
Oh, fake holiday. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks from Thursday, there
You
was
can't drink with the microphone in the way. Yeah.
there was word that Sounders would be playing a different friendly, potentially at home, and they're now playing Sacramento Republic away.
It's a good thing we're
Right.
a monorail because
Is it
otherwise we'd be
actually
off
in
the
Sacramento,
rails.
or is it at training grounds? And it
No,
is?
it's at their normal stadium. Yeah.
Isn't it Papa
So
Murphy's?
it'll either be
something
70
stadium?
Take it
or
back.
47.
Stadium.
It's taken big
Right.
stadium.
The Taking Big Stadium.
Dave's like, I'm drinking now. That ain't right. That ain't right at all.
So
This has been a test of the emergency SonarFeed system.
SonarFeed. It's been
I hope the guests that I talked to about coming on weren't listening to this show.
So friendly.
what happens when you
February 15th, first Sacramento Republic. Actually, pretty pleased that that's who they're playing against.
It's a decent tune-up for Tekla.
For sure. Could be worse. They could be playing Mark's
S2.
Pub League team. Hey, Mark.
Well, as long as you're not playing me at defense,
Good point.
we maybe stand a chance.
No.
And also not at forward because maybe somebody will score a goal.
Definitely need to talk about Mark's Pub League team. Let's spend the next 15 minutes on that.
Let's not do that.
Tom, will you be my manager again?
Probably. For you.
So Feb 15, if you're listening to us
that
and you
means
live
I'm
in
playing
Northern
winger.
California, go and support the Sounders against the Quails.
At the Take and Bake Stadium.
I think it's called Bonnie Field.
It's not as fun.
Oh my God.
Like
Adam,
Bonnie Lass?
Adam is definitely drunk. This has been SonarFeed. Episode 230. Oh,
230.
So, Dave, what do you want to talk about next?
You guys got 3 minutes.
Breaking news, 3 minutes to go.
So
Do we know anyone who drives Uber to Tacoma?
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes, we do.
Paging Aaron Riley.
Former host of
Paging
the
Aaron
show.
Riley.
So anyway,
Please come to the iPhone courtesy phone.
I'm okay.
What is happening right now?
Have you ever been the person that hangs out with like the high people, but you're not high, and they're all giggling, and it's not actually anything funny? So
It's not.
it's
Can
the
I
last
tell you
8
the
minutes of
death
this show.
I tell it again.
Please tell me Pete Fewing's not watching tonight's show.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not gonna. Steal
Our
Craig
viewership
Guest.
just went up.
By one, because Lickett heard, and so he's gifting all of
I
this right now.
actually think that might have happened. Like you've been falling off the screen for like 2 minutes.
I'll calm down.
Adam, stop laughing.
All right, so it's gonna be okay.
I know.
You're gonna go home to your 400 kids.
Multiply them by 100. Like we were talking about pennies earlier.
See?
And now my
Your
children
high
are
friend laughing at like statements of fact. You multiplied by 100.
All right, we are definitely ending the show right now because
man.
I don't even know what to do. And I work in public relations, and I'm like, I actually
Ship
wanna
it.
Just unplug your computer and have a test pattern show up. Can you pull a test
We could
pattern
probably
up?
pull it.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
So we're gonna give Adam a second to pull up a test pattern to end the show abruptly. And is there anything that people need to be paying attention to for the next week? Dave, why should they buy their tickets to a certain event soon?
YachtCon's coming up, and I don't really know any of the guests or anything like that. But an example of what we had last year was a panel of sounders that included Garth Lagerway, Chris Henderson, Christian Roldan, and Stefan Fry. So that was okay.
Wow, could you maybe give it a little more gusto?
2 years ago, Adrian Hanauer and Bill Predmore were on. Last year, we had Haley Kottmeyer. She won't be back, I don't think. Leslie Galmore. who now is the head of the U.S. Soccer Coaches Association,
Wow.
which is pretty awesome. And so they've had big name guests, and they do like videos, and Queen Anne Beer Hall gets rocking, and we all just kind of hang out and talk soccer for a while.
Not to mention,
It's a lot of
And
fun.
Not to
all of the
mention-
funds raised go to
Children's Hospital.
Children's Hospital
Autism Center.
Autism.
Is that where it's going this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Fantastic charity. Even if you don't go, buy a ticket
Yes.
or buy an ascot
or make a donation.
or buy a shirt.
Yes.
We'll have a raffle with some pretty cool stuff. I have found an NASL era pennant from the Transatlantic Cup. So it's got.
Didn't the
and
reserved seats sell out?
Yes, they
reserve
did.
seats
In
Why are
sold
they
out.
still-
They added 10 more.
we added 10 more. So yesterday,
There are 2
Weigel,
left.
Weigel
What?
knows more.
yesterday we went to the venue and figured out where the reserve seats were going to be, and we figured out where the cameras were going to be, and we figured that we could fit 10 more without actually having them blocked by camera view. Because how shitty would it be if you paid for reserve seats and you had a cameraman's derriere in your face? So
Exactly.
It's
Off
Weigel.
camera, it depends on who the cameraman is.
It's Weigel, and we know he knows how to score.
I know who I hire. So you don't want their. Never mind.
Okay.
Anyway, so yes, so we figured out we could add 10 more safely, and it sounds like
There are 2 left.
There are two
there are 2 left. So get them while
Yep, still
while
there.
they're hot. They are.
They are $19.74
Why are they $19.74, Tom?
plus $1
Handling.
$7.68 in service fees. 1974.
Are they? I think it's brown paper tickets, right?
Whole Sounders thing.
Yeah. I just helped promote it. Weigel is actually part of the event, so he knows a lot more of what's going on. Over the next few weeks, we'll announce who those guests are.
As
They're going to be pretty good.
Yes.
I mean, we just if you base it off of who the past guests are, that's the caliber that we're going for.
What
be
what
good.
what I know and
It'd be
what
good
I
lineup.
what I can feel safe saying publicly is the guests promised. We have been told will not disappoint.
Oh, the door blew
So-
open, that's why.
This has
So-
been promised to us that it will not
YachtCon
not be
Prime,
disappointing.
YachtCon 3, YachtCon Con Dios, all 3 of those names
YachtCon
exist
No.
on everything.
Yes,
So it's the latest edition of
100%
YachtCon.
pure and sufferable.
exactly.
And it is so it's the 3rd YachtCon, but it is the 4th edition of the live version of Nos Adios.
Now, fun little thing to think about. Remember going to the very first one?
At Epic Ales.
Yeah.
You-
Up,
or are you thinking the second one?
No, the second
No,
one was at Full Pull.
The second one's at Full Pull.
First one was Epic.
Yeah.
and we had Alexi and Taylor Twellman
Yeah.
and Adrian Anauer
Yeah.
were the
during
guests.
during the World Cup qualifier.
Yep.
That was a
was-
rocking good time.
Right.
Yeah.
Taylor held a baby.
Yeah, there's that was a pretty cool, decent guest list when you can get Alexi Lawless, Taylor Twellman, and Adrian Anauer to just
Yeah.
kind of hang out and answer questions. That we only had like 30 people. Everybody had like their own pizza. Jeremiah had like pizzas delivered, and
Rest in peace,
Yeah.
Epic Ales.
they're now Mollusk in South Lake Union.
Oh, those guys did mollusk now?
They are
I do
these.
like mollusk.
Everything is exactly the same except for the name that they got sued over.
So I should
Or
go.
threatened over.
I should go visit. Is
Yeah.
what you're trying to tell
Mollusk,
me.
South Lake Union.
So
It's not
Lots of
ahead of
good
the curve,
sours.
but
we were talking about this the other day, and at the first YachtCon we had the Supporters Cup. No, the Supporters Shield.
Did we have the shield there?
We had the Shield, and then we had the Cascadia Cup. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's right. And then
so
last year we had the
serving tray and,
And
the
we had the-
Cascadia
yeah,
Cup.
last
And
year
we
we had
had
the
the
MLS
MLS
Cup.
Cup.
So
That
this
won't
year
be
we're
back.
gonna have the Heritage Cup.
I doubt that.
You just called that right now?
I made an executive decision.
Does anybody even know where it is?
I doubt that because
It's
the
at
person,
Roman Torres'
It's
house.
Roman has it.
Don't joke.
Because-
it probably is.
that wouldn't happen. Just like the Cascadia Cup wouldn't be at Torres's house.
Where is the
I don't know,
Heritage
if I
Cup?
had the Heritage
I knew
Cup,
how to
I
track
would
it
give
down.
it to Roman Torres.
I don't.
No,
think,
no.
I actually don't
I mean,
think that
if
we
you
want
want
it.
it, I know how to track
I don't think we
You can
want
have it. You can have it when you retire, and if you ever move back to Panama, you can take it with you.
Dude loves hardware.
He does.
Who doesn't?
Just saying.
Software makers.
So there's that.
So last week I fell off my chair and just went under the table. Right then I almost did it again.
March
Almost did it
10th,
again.
S2 at Seattle U.
Yes.
We have what else? March 1st, we have the first home game of a competitive of the season.
It's going to be nice and warm.
February 22nd
Yeah.
at Santa Tecla.
Oh.
Santa Tecla.
Samta.
It'll be on CONCACAF Champions League is on FS1
Yeah. It's on.
or UDN
Yes.
I think it's on.
or on Facebook.
Stream it. Mark will have a drone there.
We'll have a drone there.
Hey,
Are you paying for me to
There
go to
is-
El
I am
Salvador?
not.
there is a somewhat related CCL news.
I had it too. Is it what you
Honduras?
The funny story?
Oh,
yeah,
no.
that one.
I don't know that that's funny.
It's
Honduras-
funny for us.
There's not much funny about the place being so violent that their team was not allowed to host a Champions League game in their own country.
Well, it's that they got a 6-game ban for hitting players with fireworks.
no, that is not why they're forbidden from being in the country. They're kicked out of their country. They have to host in Costa Rica.
Yeah, they were hosting in San Pedro Sula last time.
Right. It has nothing to do with.
And Motagua
It's not a stadium ban.
This
It is literally.
they weren't playing
CONCACAF
at home
says
anyway.
There are no games
In
allowed
Honduras.
in Honduras. It is too violent
Yeah.
right now.
In the whole
That's
country.
not funny. It wouldn't matter what. Which
I don't think they were going to play
They were gonna-
anywhere nearby.
they were gonna have a stadium ban there.
Yeah,
it would
which
just
they're
be a
still in.
closed stadium. But
This is still going to be closed, as far as we can tell.
no,
No, they're playing.
they're playing in Costa Rica. They're allowed to have fans. Yeah,
But I was
Yeah.
told this is that the no. I was told that the Red Bulls fans could come, but that the Olympia fans were not going to be permitted into this game.
But
But
it's-
anyway,
but-
so it's because of the political situation in
Costa
in
Rican
Honduras.
fans can. Still
Is there
go.
not a stadium at Cox and Hole?
See, it's not a closed stadium because people can go. Olympia fans can't. So
I didn't say
that's
anything.
not a closed stadium. There'll be.
It's not the fans, it's the country that they're banning. Is what they're doing.
The local fans.
The
sorry.
fans of Olympia itself will be forbidden.
Correct.
Buy tickets in Costa Rica?
No.
No? Okay.
The fans of Olympia will be banned, but that doesn't mean it's a closed stadium.
You missed.
Because
You
they'll
really missed it.
people.
I had his back.
I think it's at Saprissa Stadium, or was it at National? It was one of those. It was one of the two big stadiums in Costa Rica is going to host it. Yeah, so the Red Bulls get. I mean, to be honest, probably good to avoid Honduras right now.
It's probably a good idea. Like,
It's a lot better in that. Yeah,
it's a lot better.
it's a lot better.
Uh,
Honduras is as violent as Iraq and Somalia and Afghanistan and Syria is. El Salvador is just a
It depends.
It's just a rather typical Central American country. It is not a war zone.
Yeah, this is borderline war zone, and having been to the stadium that CD Olympia would have played at in Tegucigalpa, well, were they allowed to play at home right now?
That sounds serious.
It could go downhill.
There's
very
a if you
quickly.
can't hear, there's a fire truck.
So
going
this weekend,
by.
a few of us were actually talking about this, and when we were down there for CCL a few years ago, it was about, I don't know, 4 in the afternoon, and we were out doing the charitable stuff with
Yeah.
the Sounders, and they had put down kind of the street soccer kind of mini court at this school, and the police with submachine guns actually were like, sun's going down, we should go. And then we were like, well, no, we're okay. Like, some of us speak Spanish and we're fine. And the cops were like, nope, we're leaving. And we were like, oh, let's totally go right now.
That was the
because
only-
the police wanted to leave.
There were only 3 times that the team themselves left any of their hotel.
Yeah.
That, the game, and to go back to the airport.
I mean, is it even an away trip
And
if you're not
Honduras is
escorted
now more
by a
violent.
tank?
If there's no tank or armed escort, it doesn't even count.
Right.
Anyway, so to Dave's point, scary.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm curious to see what happens because I'm guessing some of the Red Bulls supporters and fans bought tickets, probably already, to fly to Honduras. So that may or may not have been a good thing because I'm doubting CONCACAF made a phone call on their behalf to get the $250 change fee waived. You could have worse
Good
problems.
Airlines would do it.
Okay. So not United or Delta. We may or may not end up seeing Olympia at some point if Sounders have their way through CCL. So, Mark, you had a question.
Well, you said United, and it all of a sudden reminded me of a new certain stadium in the Los Angeles area that is now sponsored by United. Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, where the USC Trojans play, now sponsored by United. All games will be postponed or delayed.
So the tangent went tangent to tangent.
I got that off Twitter earlier. I don't remember who said it, but it's true.
I don't even understand what just happened. Hey, Adam, what's up?
Or when you enter the
done
stadium,
laughing.
they might lose your bag.
I just went through the
everyone.
metal detector. What happened to my bag?
So we'll be back next week. We may or may not have one of the two guests that we've been stalking on the internet.
If they watch
just
this
have
show, definitely
They're
not.
definitely not going to be here. So with that, any last words? 21 letters, right? Yeah. David,
I didn't know you could count.
I had a friend who played shithole on Words with Friends.
Did it
Cleared
work?
The board.
and it played?
Yeah, it was an 8-letter play. It was worth like 80 points.
You know that literally someone at Zynga ran to the computer when that word came out, and they were like, it's in the New York Times. It's going in the game. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Mark?
They got nothing. I take the high road.
We'll win 42-3.
Team Meteor. We're out.